All right. I believe we are live on YouTube.
Yeah, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are.
That's right. Hello, everybody. Today it's instead of Greg and Nick, today we have Greg and Stephen as Nick is on vacation. And so we're happy to welcome Stephen to an Ask Us Anything. And he's joining us from Colorado Springs, where he's sitting outside of a Starbucks and hopefully won't be chased away by the throngs of people seeking coffee.
Yes, yeah. Caution to anyone thinking of doing the Category 1 Hyatt house in Colorado Springs. The internet is awful, which is why I'm here right now. So,
so the coffee helps the internet go better there, I guess.
It does, yeah. It speeds up.
Very good. Not enough to keep you from freezing, though, as we just discovered. Anyway,
okay, I will 2 seconds. I will move a little bit closer to the restaurant and hopefully that will help.
Okay. So while Stephen's moving his stuff, I'll just mention that Nick is right now enjoying his time at a Vacasa vacation rental in the Great Smoky Mountains, and he's been posting some pictures to social media, and it looks incredible. He's in a giant 1-bedroom vacation rental that has a big loft, and because of the loft, it's really more like multiple bedrooms, but they only count it as one, and so they charge just the 15,000 Wyndham points per night, which is just an awesome deal. And I know when I've been looking at Vacasa vacation rentals, it hasn't been too hard to find those kind of 1-bedroom, but really more than 1-bedroom deals like that.
Yeah.
How about you, Stephen? Have you looked to doing any of these vacation rentals?
Yeah, I'd taken a look because they seem to be perfect for places where the hotel room prices have been super expensive, because we were originally thinking of being in Oregon this summer. And I took a look at some places in Bend, and there were quite a few 1-bedroom places, but none of those particular ones were pet friendly. All of the pet friendly ones were kind of like 2 or 3-bedroom places, so they weren't good for us. And so we ended up deciding to visit Colorado this summer in the end. But yeah, there did seem to be a huge number of 1-bedroom places. I looked there, kind of like Yellowstone Park area, all the kind of places, Grand Canyon, things where the room rates are normally super high. For 15,000 points, then it's fantastic value.
Awesome. All right, we've got our first question is from Jonathan Strange. Hey guys, is it possible to hold both CSR, Chase Sapphire Reserve, and Chase Sapphire Preferred? Hoping to downgrade my CSR to a Freedom, then sign up for CSP, 100K offer, then sometime a bit later upgrade the Freedom back to the Sapphire Reserve. What do you think? Do you know, Steve?
Sadly not. Part of his plan would be successful in that he can downgrade his Sapphire Reserve to a Freedom and then apply for a Sapphire Preferred, but you can't hold both of them at the same time. And so the latter part of his plan about upgrading the Freedom to the Sapphire Reserve wouldn't be successful unless he downgraded his Preferred to a Freedom first. So
how sure are you of that? So I mean, I'm 100% sure that you can't get approved for a new Sapphire if you already hold a Sapphire, but could you product change to one if you already have one?
That's a good point, actually.
I don't think it can work, but things more crazy than that have worked in the past. So I just don't know for sure.
That's true. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't hurt to try if that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah, I mean, and if you do try, please let us know if it works or not. I know there's other people that are interested in doing that as well. And the main reason people want to do that is because they don't want to wait a full year without having the Sapphire Reserve card, because once they get the Preferred, they can't upgrade for a year. And that's why it's of interest. And I've gotten that question before, and I answered the same way you did initially. It's just not possible. But then I thought more about it. I'm like, I actually don't know that for sure.
Yeah, because you can hold multiple Freedom cards, but you can't apply for a new Freedom card if you already have them. So yeah, I guess that certainly could be possible on the system. So interesting.
Yeah. If anyone knows, please, if anyone knows who's live on here, please let us know now. That would be great. Otherwise, shoot us an email or a tweet or whatever.
Yeah, I figure that's probably only worth doing if it's within a year, because beyond the year, then I can't really think of a good reason to hold the Sapphire Preferred and the Sapphire Reserve at the same time. So,
yeah. Okay, then Yolanda says, my business has a 25% silent partner. Will his credit get pulled when applying for a business card? I'm curious whether, I don't know whether Yolanda means when Yolanda's applying for a business card, will the partner's credit get pulled? In that case, the answer is no.
Right? Yeah.
All right. If the partner, of course, is applying for themselves, then yes. All right. Paul says, hey guys, how concerned are you about the recent Schwab Platinum rumors? Have you had a chance to catch up on that, Stephen? And
I have, yeah. I've had like mixed feelings about it because I have a Schwab card, but I've never actually gotten around to like cashing out beyond like the reason I got it for the 40K to far away a couple of years ago for that part of the challenge. But I'm not too... I just they could be making it 1.5 cents per point, just given how Chase is doing pay yourself.
All right, we keep losing Stephen, so I'm gonna just try to take this one a little bit. The general idea of what's happening here is that people were worried because the Schwab Platinum card used to have on its landing page for the sign-up offer, it used to say basically that you can redeem points for 1.25 cents each by investing with rewards. That means taking out your points and they go into your Schwab investment account, and you get 1.25 cents per point when you do that. And what happened was that language disappeared from the landing page. And I wrote a whole post about how there's all kinds of reasons that could have happened, but a lot of people have made the assumption that what's happening is that either invest with rewards is going away altogether, or that it's losing its higher value, meaning like the Morgan Stanley card has that ability, but it's only at 1 cent per point. So people are scared that the Schwab will also drop to, let's say, 1 cent per point for invest with rewards. But in my post about this, I pointed out that there's other possibilities. It could be moving up. It could be simply that they didn't want that information on the landing page anymore, because the landing page text was specific to the size of the welcome bonus offer. It said your 60,000 points are worth $750 or whatever it is, do the 1.25. Well, if they move to a more dynamic welcome bonus, like the Amex Platinum's generic card has, where depending on who logs in, you see different offers like 75K or 100K or whatever, it makes sense to me that they wouldn't want that language on there saying your 60K points are worth this much, that they might have just wanted to take it away. So there's all kinds of reasons it could be there. I'm not too worried, but I mean, it certainly is possible that the 1.25 is going away, but I just, I don't think it's as likely as some people seem to think, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happens.
Yeah, I feel like it's more conceivable that that they will end up having a dynamic welcome offer more than just completely getting rid of it. That's my initial impression, but yeah, it's going to be a case of wait and see, I think. So I'm curious, if we will end up seeing any kind of change, or if they've just removed it and they're not actually planning any kind of changes whatsoever. So we'll never kind of know, and so we'll just be in a state of limbo until something maybe changes down the line in a few years.
Right. It also might be have something to do with the changes that are likely to come to all the consumer platinum cards next month. There are rumors about that, and I don't know whether it's good or bad, but it seems like it's possible that they're simply preparing for that and taking away any things that might be misleading based on whatever happens then. All right, so that basically a lot of talk about saying we don't know.
Yep.
Okay. Now we got a question from Mr. Sandman, who says, Greg and Stephen, what is the quickest way to earn status with an airline for someone that only travels a few times per year? And is it worth it? you have any thoughts on that?
I guess it depends on how much hassle you want to go through, and also what kind of benefits that you're actually looking to get. Because if it's purely that you want things like free checked bags and priority boarding and things like that, those kind of things you can often get with airline credit cards. So that might be a better option. And then if it's purely just that you want, like on American Airlines, upgrades to main cabin extra or something like that, paying the $30 extra might be a better option than trying to wrangle your way into having kind of airline status. If you're willing to put a lot of spend on cards, then you obviously have the experience with earning Delta status. But beyond that, then I don't think there's necessarily a quick and easy way necessarily to get it, unless you're randomly given it, like American Airlines sometimes does to people. And I got it through having Hyatt Globalist status. They gave me Executive Platinum, which I got lucky about because it got extended due to COVID and with all the status extensions. But other than that, I can't really think of anything that would be quick and easy, because otherwise everyone would be doing it, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I don't, if you're only going to be traveling a few times per year, I don't think it's worth it. I think any effort you went through to get it would be like, as Steven said, you'd be better off just using the money to buy the seat you want or whatever, or to pay the annual fee on a credit card that gives you the same kind of perks. Now, one sort of different idea, though, is if you're someone who doesn't travel often, but you know you're about to travel a lot, it may be worth, if you know which airline you're likely to be traveling a lot on, maybe worth checking with them to see if you can get into a status challenge, so that once you start traveling a lot, you can get to elite status quickly. And sometimes those status challenges give you temporary elite status as well, for like 3 months. So you could get 3 months of status, and if you're traveling a lot during that time, hopefully keep that status for the rest of the year, or even another year, depending on when you sign up. But yeah. All right, let's move on.
And speaking of which, one quick thing, founder's card. I think Nick had said that's come, like if you pay for the full annual fee rather than taking the free trial version, I think you get platinum status for 3 months or something like that. So similar to what Greg was saying with doing a status challenge, if you sign up for founder's card just before you have an American Airlines flight, then you would have platinum status, and so that will hopefully go some way to at least getting you some kind of upgraded seats.
Yep. Okay. And Yolanda is back with, can I book a second room with Hyatt and use a lounge access certificate to get lounge access? We'll have globalist status for first room.
I guess part of it might depend on if you're booking with points, then you could just do that as a guest of honor stay, and so then that would happen automatically. If it's a paid stay, then I forget exactly what the rules are with doing that on your account. I think that you should be able to book another room on your account, and they would still have lounge access anyway, even without having to use one of your lounge certificates, just simply because you have globalist status. Is that your understanding?
I think technically, by the rules of the program, I think if you book multiple rooms, that technically only the primary room would get lounge access, but in practice, I think usually everybody does. But on the other hand, when you have globalist status, the lounge access awards are worthless. So if you can, for anything but this kind of situation, so if they will let you apply it, I think they probably would. I don't know. Then you might as well, to give your guests legitimate lounge access. But good point about booking a guest of honor stay, because if it is on points, that would be much better, because they'll get more than just lounge access. They'll get whatever benefits globalist affords. Should be cool. All right. Next is from Eddie, who says, hi guys, I snag an award night with suite upgrade at Hyatt Kaui for 6 nights. I'd like to stay 2 more nights. Should I make additional reservation in my name, guest of honor, or something else?
Okay.
So, okay.
I'm trying to decide like what the, like if you're wanting to stay 2 nights, I guess it depends on if you actually have globalist status or if this was already booked as a guest of honor. I don't know, but then again, if it was booked as a guest of honor, they wouldn't have been able to use a suite upgrade. So yeah, he must be globalist himself. So there'd be no reason to book a guest of honor stay for himself for an additional 2 nights. So yeah, you would just make the reservation in your name. What I might try and do if they have the award availability is try and extend the current reservation to 7 nights, just because that's how long a suite upgrade lasts for, and then just book an additional night on the end of that, or just extend your existing one for 8 nights and just use one. I don't know if they would only let you use one suite upgrade for the first 7 nights, but hopefully you would then just get to remain in there for your final night if you didn't have another suite night upgrade to burn. But there is the risk then that they might have you move just for your final night, which would be a bit of hassle. But but for 7 nights in a suite in Hawaii, that's still not a bad deal.
Right. What do you think? Would it be worth? So let's say he could extend it to 7 nights so that the suite upgrade applies to all that. Would it be worth paying the suite award price for that 8th night just to make sure that he doesn't lose his suite on that last night? I mean, it seems to me likely that they would let him stay in it, but
I can't think of what category level that one is in terms of how many extra points that would end up.
Well, so the normal price is $25K, but I don't remember what the suite award. Of course, like premium suite would be $50K, but the standard suite would be somewhere in between.
I feel like it might 40. Be. I was going to say like upper 30s or like maybe 40 or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that. For me personally, that would be a lot of points to burn just for the one night, especially when you're already in a suite for 7 days as it is. I'd imagine that they wouldn't bother moving unless it's completely slammed there and they don't actually have the suite available. Otherwise, then I can imagine they would just let you stay in that room just because it wouldn't really be worth it at that point, especially if it's all booked on one reservation in the first place. So yeah. I would try and extend the current one for 8 days. That way you're at least guaranteed 7 days. And then if you have plenty of Hyatt points to burn, then yeah, certainly use those just to kind of guarantee that you won't end up being kicked out of that particular room after a week.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a My Hyatt concierge, I would just go through them and tell them what you're trying to accomplish and let them do it all for you. And if not, go through Hyatt concierge on Twitter or Facebook to get it done. They should be able to help you there. All right. Next one is from Dstrom. Any chance Hyatt extends certs past 12/31/21? I've found data points indicating Hyatt offering points for expired certs in the past. This seems less likely when so many people have certs.
I mean, I feel like because of how good Hyatt's been during the promotion with handing out status to everyone and everything else and running great promotions, I'd imagine that they will end up extending them, especially seeing as Hilton's gone ahead and has extended the certificates now. But at the same time, IHG's extended certificates, but only until December 31st for any that were due to expire in August or whenever it was before. So I'd imagine that Hyatt would go on the more generous end, but there's certainly no guarantee with that. In terms of getting points for expired certificates, I don't know if that's only for Globalist members or not, but I had a category 1 to 4 certificate expiring, I think it was like a year or two ago, and I contacted my concierge and I ended up getting, I think it was 10,000 points after it had actually expired. So that's certainly an option, but I don't think that's a guaranteed benefit or anything like that. So that kind of thing could get pulled at any time, or it might just depend on the whim of your concierge. So it certainly seems like it's doable, and that seems to have been around for several years. But again, if you don't have any status with them, then it might be a little bit harder to convince them to give you some points for any kind of expired certificates if you don't have any plans to use it by the end of the year.
Right. Now, regarding the idea that so many people will have expiring certs at the end of the year if they don't extend it, my bet is that they wouldn't then change the policy of whether they'll give you 10K points for your expired certs or not. That if anything, they'll be if anything, I would think they'll be more likely to do that than less likely, because they don't want to upset their customers, and they know this is a weird situation. And if they do fail to extend them, I think they'll be very understanding about people having expired certificates and being upset about that. So I mean, I think whatever the current sort of rules behind the scenes are about whether or not they can give you points for it, I don't expect that to get worse.
And I'm also curious how many certificates people would end up having left at the end of the year, because there's been so much pent-up demand for travel, and people have been saving up all of these 3-night certificates, especially the Hyatt ones. I can imagine, because they have so many decent properties that are category 1 to 4. I feel like if people have 2 or 3 of those, and that's a nice long weekend that you can book away somewhere. And if you have a player too who's also managed to save up 2 or 3 certificates over the last year and a half or so, then you could get away for almost a week, depending on how many you've had and if you've been putting 15k spend on your Hyatt card and things like that. So I can imagine there'll be people burning quite a few of those over the course of the next 6 months.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm in 2 minds as to whether they will extend it beyond December 31st, because I guess with Hilton, they only extended it, was it till February next year? I can't remember how far into 2022. I feel like it was February, so it's not like they've even extended it all that far beyond.
Are you talking about Marriott or
no, Hilton?
The weird. You're talking about the weird Hilton ones that were issued before the date at which they made them all last until the end of 22.
Oh, okay. Was it not old Hilton certificates then?
No, because most Hilton certificates issued after, and I can't remember the date, all have an expiration date of December 31st of 2022. So it was only ones that were issued before that date,
right. Yes,
that had an in between, and so they extended it. And it was a little weird that they didn't just push those to 2020, end of 2022 as well. But anyway, all right. That's enough of that question. Let's see. Let's move on. Melissa says, I am going for Hyatt Globalist, and for some period of time, I'll be an Explorist. As a practical matter, does the potential upgrade for Explorist really come through at all? So I have a tiny bit of experience with that, but do you have much experience of being an Explorist?
Not really. We ended up jumping from Explorist to Globalist pretty quickly, and so I feel like the stays in between were at a Hyatt Place or something like that, and so it wasn't really like there was any kind of upgrade potential. And so I can't really think of anything that I would have in terms of data points. I've never really seen many data points of people being an Explorist and like explaining what kind of benefits they ended up receiving as a result. It doesn't. It feels like everyone's either Discoverist or Globalist.
Right. So I once did the Hyatt Regency that's in Jersey City, like on the water there, and I actually booked it through an OTA, so I didn't expect any elite benefits at all, and I was okay with that because I was just Explorist. And but I did like contact the hotel and get my Hyatt number put on there just in case it helped. And I was actually surprised. They did give me, or at least they claimed it was a room upgrade. I mean, it certainly wasn't to a suite, but it was to a nice room with a nice view. And they gave me some vouchers for like a discount on breakfast and some other stuff that was very specifically just for elites. So nice. It wasn't, it wasn't stuff to write home about, but at the same time, it was a nice welcome and some nice stuff there. So yeah, for what that's worth.
And I mean, I guess you can still use your lounge access awards and things like that. So at least that will improve your stay somewhat. But in terms of room upgrades, it'll probably also depend on what kind of location you're going to and if it's going to be the height of summer. Because if that's the case, it's probably unlikely because they're going to want to retain the good rooms for sale or for upgrades for Globalist members. But if you're going to a quiet place in November this year or something like that, I'd hope that you'd have somewhat of a good chance of getting some kind of room upgrade, even though it wouldn't be to a suite.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. sorry, I don't have my reading glasses on, so I can't read the name. But
Eileen Kiefer.
Eileen, okay. It looked like the L and the I were swapped around. But, do you want to read that one?
Okay, sure. Destination suggestion for Christmas time. 7 adults are challenging to be in one vehicle for sightseeing. Typically go to an island, but concerned this year due to COVID. Will Hawaii be too crazy busy? I think yes. Hawaii is going to be crazy busy this Christmas. I have a feeling that's going to be busy for at least the next year or something like that. So you're wanting to go sightseeing, and I'm assuming you want some kind of beach, given that you normally go to an island, maybe somewhere in the Caribbean or something like that. Because I guess it depends on how much they end up opening up by the end of this year. But with the vaccination effort and things like that, I'd hope that by the end of the year that there'll be more and more countries opening its borders and making it much easier to travel.
Yeah. I think it'd be tough to bet on any place that isn't going to be packed over Christmas time, because any place that's sort of guaranteed to be fairly warm and has beaches and all that is going to be popular. And Stephen mentioned earlier, there's tons of pent-up demand for travel. So I think we're going to be seeing many places really busy. That said, I would guess that you might have better luck going to like Central America, like Costa Rica or somewhere.
Well, funny you should say that, because we have an interruption from Carrie. She says Rarotonga in Honduras is really nice. And
there we go.
And so there you go. There's a suggestion for you for somewhere good to go. And I imagine that, like Honduras, I've never actually been, but I imagine there's probably not going to be quite as many people visiting there this Christmas as will be visiting Hawaii. And so I'd imagine that you'd have a much better opportunity of getting award flights and hotels on points and things like that. So
exactly. I'm kind of, as much as I love Hawaii, I'm kind of biding my time, saying I'll wait until the current sort of Hawaii gold rush dies down. I don't have any desire to go when it's just throngs of people fighting over the one rental car in the lot.
Yep.
All right. John says, hey guys, with the recent Sapphire Preferred sign-up bonus increase, is Chase proving that it's worth keeping your applications around 524, bummed and missing out on it?
That's a really tough one, because 100K ultimate rewards is a really nice sign-up bonus, and we missed out on. We need to actually contact Chase just to see if they'd be willing to bump up my wife's one, because we got her the Sapphire Preferred when it was 80K, and so gonna throw it out there and just see if they'd be willing to upgrade it to 100K bonus. In terms of whether it's worth keeping your applications around 524, because there's been so many good ones over this past year. That's just a really tough one. If you value ultimate rewards a lot and have a hard time putting them together, then I guess it might be. But if it means that you're going to be missing out on things like the Platinum 100K 10x offer and other ones like that, then it might not be worth staying under 524.
I think that's a really important point, because if you were trying to stay under 524 for what might happen with Chase, then probably what you would have done is you would have not signed up for the Platinum 100K plus 10x offer, and you would have signed up for the Sapphire Preferred 80K offer when it showed up. And so you're down a lot of points because of having waited. So I think for most people, probably the answer is no. But as you pointed out, if you very highly value ultimate rewards sort of over the other currencies that you could be getting with sign-up bonuses, then yeah.
Another plan that you could do is, if you have a player too, then one of you could try staying under 524, and then the other could apply for some of the better offers. And that's something that my wife and I have done almost inadvertently. She just happened to end up getting below 524, and so we've just ended up keeping her there with some business card applications and then the occasional Chase personal card application. So I think she's still at 424 now, whereas I've been applying for other cards. I've been trying to apply for as many business cards as possible to to eventually get under 524, but there's just been so many good personal card offers that it's just constantly pushing out my 524 date by another few months. And so I think I still have another like 6 to 9 months now or something like that. So I don't know if I'll end up getting below 524 anytime soon. But yeah, that's certainly an option if you're in two-player mode, is to try and work out things that way.
Okay. All right, cool. So I'm just reading. So Curie had some suggestions here. So she says Roatan is the Honduran island that she wanted to mention. She also says Guam is also really nice, and Saipan is I guess really nice. So there's some suggestions from Carrie. Okay, Get Going says, how do Amex charge card credit limit reporting get calculated for credit utilization ratio? And how does closing an Amex charge card affect the same ratio for any credit score implications?
I'll leave this one to you because I actually have no clue about how that works. So.
Yeah, so I don't know the answer. So here's what the question is about, is that usually when you sign up for a new credit card, your utilization ratio improves because your utilization ratio, which is a big part of your credit score, is how much of your credit that's allocated to you is actually being used. And by signing up for more cards, you have more credit allocated to you. And so the percentage used is smaller, and that's a good thing. But when a charge card supposedly doesn't have a set credit limit, so how much is reported, if any, to the credit bureaus about how much credit is allocated to you when you sign up for a charge card? And I do not know the answer to that either. No, no idea.
Yeah, it's a interesting concept. I just never thought about that. I'm assuming there's something that's done on the Amex side where it works out some kind of utilization, but I don't know what that would be when reporting. I've never paid that much close attention. So yeah,
don't know.
That's a good question.
Right.
I just wish we knew the answer.
All right. And next is Matthew says, is there a reason you wouldn't make booking for others as a globalist on your account, then add their name to the reservation so you can get the nights instead of guest of honor bookings?
I guess danger really of the hotel being fussy about the fact that you're doing that and that you're not the one checking in. Like it could certainly work out without any kind of issue, especially if you specifically add their name to the booking and then make a note on the reservation that you want them to be allowed to check in. But there is always the danger that if the hotel won't check you in unless you're actually there, that could completely wreck their stay. Whereas with a guest of honor booking, then it's been specifically set up by Hyatt so that your guests of honor can actually get all the benefits. And so if you're at, say, 58 nights or something like that, and then someone's going to be going away for 2 nights and that would push you over 60, then I guess that might be worth the effort on your part. But at the risk of having someone stay potentially completely ruined, hopefully a hotel wouldn't be that strict about the policy about checking people in. But yeah, it's always a danger. And so I personally would forgo the elite nights myself and just book it as guest of honor.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind doing this like occasionally, but I wouldn't do it a lot because if I'm remembering right, Hyatt sent letters to people a few years back who were doing this a lot. You know, this was kind of a routine thing that some people did to keep elite status. Was they would basically kind of sell people their globalist status in exchange for them checking in as themselves. So
and I think that's why they did guest of honor in the first place, is so that this kind of thing wouldn't happen, or from what I understand. And so the fact that they have guest of honor in place to be able to do this suggests to me that it's better to use that rather than risking anything else. But if it's just purely going to be a case that someone's going to high Regency at some kind of airport hotel or something like that, it's probably less of an issue. If you're planning on booking them 1 week stay in the Maldives where they're going to get a suite upgrade or something like that, then that is certainly much more risky, that something could end up going wrong there, where they might be a bit more aware of issues relating to that.
Yeah. All right, we've got a great question here from Paul. Why do so many people hate the Marriott program? I personally love their properties. Not sure what I'm missing. What do you think?
Well, I guess there's two different parts there. Like, I think a lot of people love the properties, and that's why they hate the Marriott program, because for a lot of people, the devaluations and hassles that have been involved with Marriott Bonvoy have meant that it hasn't necessarily been as worth staying at their properties. Having said that, I still like Bonvoy for this part. I still get really good value from using our points. But certainly when it comes to the 35,000 night certificates, those are getting worse and worse, just because there's far fewer properties now that you can use them at than there had been in the past. But yeah, I certainly don't hate Marriott, but I can understand why people do, depending on what their kind of stays are like, and if they're just purely going off based off of the 35,000 point nights.
Yeah. I think the answer why so many people hate them is complicated by a number of things. One is that people loved SPG, especially people who were like, there were just a lot of like SPG loyalists before Marriott bought them, and I was not. I mean, it's not that I didn't like SPG. I just never had high level elite status with SPG. But I did have it with Marriott. And so when Marriott bought SPG and sort of merged their programs into this new Bonvoy thing, it was actually good for me, like, because they took a number of the good elements of the SPG elite program and shoved them into the Marriott program. And so it made Marriott's elite program better. On the flip side, people who enjoyed SPG's elite program felt like the Marriott twist on things made things a lot worse. And so depending on where you came from before that happened, I think you're going to have a very different view. And the other thing is, like, those of us who are used to Hyatt, which is much more consistent in providing elite benefits across the board, Marriott's extremely inconsistent with it. So if you stay a lot at Marriott's, I mean, if you really like them, I think it has more to do with those individual properties than Marriott Bonvoy overall. They don't do a lot to make sure that the properties maintain a consistent level of service and elite benefit recognition. And
especially with the whole breakfast issues as well, that's another reason people don't end up liking Marriott, just because unless you know all of the ins and outs of the program, and even though I have a fairly good idea of it, I still have to check the resource that Greg ended up putting together as to what you can actually expect at all the different brands when it comes to breakfast, because it's not like Hyatt, where if you have globalist status, you have free breakfast, basically, whether or not that's going to be in the restaurant or the lounge. Even if you have titanium status, which is what I've got with Marriott, then it will just be completely brand and property dependent sometimes as to what your breakfast situation is going to be. And so not knowing that means that there's kind of a little less incentive to book with Marriott if you do value free breakfast.
Yeah. All right. Bob says, trying to figure out what card my daughter should apply for. She's an authorized user on one of my old accounts. 9 months ago, she was declined for the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Then she got Student Discover, recently got Delta Business Gold. So let me first say that there's some possibility that when Chase does these like enhanced offers, they might be more lenient on the applications recently than they used to be. So I think it's worth giving the 100K offer a try again, even though she was denied before. But what do you think, Stephen? What should she get?
Yep. Like, I feel like the Chase Sapphire Preferred, given that was previously a priority for them, then certainly give that a try, because the worst comes to the worst, and all that is a hard pull on the account. I'd say go to our best offers page and take a look at the different cards that have increased sign-up bonuses at the moment. part of it will also depend on how easily she can meet the spend, or if you would end up being an authorized user on one of her cards to help her meet the spend, because something like one of the Amex Platinum cards could be a good one. But if she would have a hard time meeting $5,000 worth of spend on that. But then again, if she's got the Delta business, oh no, that Delta business card, okay, it wasn't just the Amex business gold. But yeah, something like the Amex Platinum card or something like that, I feel could be good, just so that she starts building up some transferable currencies, given that all she has at the moment is Delta miles, basically. And then does the student Discover card just give straight cash back? I've never paid too much attention to.
Well, the student Discover It card is exactly the same as the regular Discover It, except that it gives you $20 a year for claiming that you get good grades. So it has a nice little extra perk there. The other thing I would consider doing, and this is what my son did, is sign up for the Freedom Unlimited. Of course, right now it's not at like a high watermark with the offer, but I think it's good to get into the Chase ecosystem somehow, and that's a good way in. They have set a lower bar for approval than they do for the Sapphire Preferred, and at least then she'll be earning at a good rate. She'll be earning Ultimate Rewards, 3x for drugstores and dining, and 1.5x everywhere else. So, I think that would feel a lot better than her earning like one Delta SkyMile for most of her purchases, for example.
And then seeing as she was able to get a business card with Amex, then possibly one of the Chase Inc. business cards as well, because some of those have high bonuses too at the moment. So that's another option for earning some ultimate rewards, especially if you get the business preferred, then that will be fully transferable rather than just going for something like the Inc. Cash, where you would need some kind of premium card to go along with that. But if all she's wanting to do is build up some points at the moment and isn't necessarily planning on redeeming them, then like Greg said, the Freedom Unlimited could be a good option, because it might actually be a little bit easier to get approved for that. And at the moment, 524 isn't too much of an issue. So even with the Freedom Unlimited, that would just put her at 224, given that the Delta card was a business one. So she'd still have plenty of time to be able to get other Chase cards in the future. So
and my son was also, as a student, able to get an Inc. Business Unlimited, I think he got, or the cash, I can't remember. The two free ones, which unfortunately I think they require $7,500 spend now. So that's a lot, but if you could help her with it, or if she's somehow able to do it, it's a great offer. And the requirements are less for getting approved than the Inc. Business Preferred. So I'd actually argue she should start with one of those. And if she wants transferable currency and doesn't get approved for the Sapphire Preferred, then maybe later she can upgrade to the Inc. Business Preferred if they would allow it. That part really depends on how big of a credit line she's allocated. The free Incs, if I remember right, they can approve you with a $3,000 credit line or higher, whereas the Inc. Business Preferred has to have at least a $5,000 credit line to get approved. All right, let's see. Champ is next. Hey, Greg and Stephen, hope you're both well. Just curious, what is your approach for car rentals in general? Road tripping a few times this summer. Would love to get the most out of those trips.
I am completely the wrong person to ask about this, because we're on a full-time road trip. We're in our car, and so we don't end up ever renting a car, other than occasionally when going overseas. So I don't know. Do you end up renting a car when you go on vacation? Okay.
We regularly
just kind of like Uber it and just stay somewhere.
Oh, no. We regularly rent when we're traveling. It depends where we're going, of course, but I mean, my sort of standard thing is I make sure I always have national executive status, because I do really like now getting I forget, there's two levels of their executive status, but as long as you have one of them, you book a standard room and you automatically get upgraded to a suite, executive to a suite, to the executive aisle. So you pick a car from the nicer cars, and that's paid off not just with having nicer cars, but sometimes it's actually saved us a lot of money, because like one time, or actually a few times, we were traveling with another family. And if we just got regular cars, we would have had to rent 2 cars. So what we did is we made a backup reservation just in case, and then used my reservation to go pick out like either a big 6-seater SUV or a minivan or whatever. And so we actually saved a lot of money by ending up with just one reservation. And you could get national executive status with a number of credit cards offer that, like the Amex Platinum cards. And Carrie has some information here. She's saying car rentals are really tough right now since a lot of agencies sold off their fleets during COVID, and says you should book directly with the agency since they prioritize their own bookings. They may not even be able to guarantee availability otherwise. That's sort of true, although they don't guarantee it even when you book directly with them. So there's a risk. And last time I rented a car, because of this shortage of rental cars that's out there, I made a backup booking with another rental car firm. So I booked national like I normally do, but I also I went to book Hertz, but it turned out Hertz has a cancellation fee now. So I didn't want to do that.
No.
So then I found an okay rate with Avis, and it said, all right, that's my backup. And, but it turned out I went to national and they had the cars, so I had no problem. But
see, I'd say definitely making more than one booking or with more than one car rental agency is definitely worth it, provided they don't have the cancellation fee. Another option is Turo. My wife is going away this summer. Her and one of her best friends are going away for a kind of joint 40th birthday celebration, and so they've rented an Audi convertible, and that ended up being cheaper through Turo than just renting kind of a compact rental car from a car rental agency. And so that's certainly another option. And then with Turo, then provided the person doesn't end up cancelling on you, then you basically should have a guaranteed car rather than risking the car rental agency being sold out of cars by the time you actually get there. So that's another option. Only thing with that is that it doesn't have free cancellation, and so you can't really use that as a backup. But if you have that as your first choice, and then maybe make 1 or 2 reservations with car rental agencies that have no cancellation fee, that could be another good option, depending on what's available where you're planning on visiting.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then also Nick wrote about how a lot of car dealerships offer car rentals, and so those are much less likely to get sold out because so few people know about them. And websites, travel websites that help you find rental cars aren't going to find those because those aren't listed. So what you could do is basically Google for what area you're going to, the name of that area, and try different car dealerships, like say Ford rental car, Toyota rental car, like that, and you might be able to find some that are good deals, and those I think would be more likely also to be more guaranteed if the dealership commits to it. All right. Do we have any other?
Yes, we have one from Anthony. Hello, I got a founder's card through a referral. First 6 months are free. I got it to get Caesars Diamond status for free, though the Caesars Diamond status is not available during the 6-month free trial. How can I get Caesars Diamond status since Wyndham's status match is on hold right now? Is it on hold between those 2 programs? Because I know that Wyndham's status match with hotel programs is on hold, but I thought that you could still match between the 2. And isn't that what you were just writing about with extending your points?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't write about the match part of it, but that's right. It's the part of matching from another program like IHG or whatever to Wyndham in order to get Wyndham Diamond. But if you could get Wyndham Diamond, then you can still connect up your Caesars and Wyndham's accounts and get automatic diamond on Caesars side. I just did that myself. I got Wyndham Diamond the easy way, which is signing up for the Barclays Wyndham Earner Business Card. So that's a really great card in a number of ways anyway, and even without the diamond status, but the diamond status is a nice little extra. And if you're into Caesars, I mean, worst case, you use all those Wyndham points you get from that card and transfer them over to Caesars and use them for 1 cent a point there. So there's a really nice synergy with that. So that's a route I'd recommend. All right, ready for Billy Goon? Staying at Meridien Maldives as titanium for 5 nights with 4-night stopover in Dubai on Emirates business class. Any trip suggestions, tips, tricks, must do, first time in both places? Oh, wow. Well, so personally, I have not been to the Maldives and I have not been to Dubai and I have not flown Emirates. So
yeah, I haven't been to either of those places yet, although so my wife's around. I have a trip planned for her, and that might involve being in Dubai for some period of time during the trip. So we're yeah, there's a lot of good hotel options in Dubai, and depending on when you're going to be staying, there's some incredibly reasonably priced hotels there at the moment, like well under $100 a night. And if you have Hyatt Globalist status and you can apply some suite upgrades, then that can end up being fantastic value there. If you're looking for general kind of like activities and day trips, I'd recommend going to like Viator, if that's how you pronounce it, viator.com, because you can book activities and day trips and things like that through there. So that will give you some kind of idea as to what's actually available in especially in Dubai, because I'm assuming that if you're at the Maldives, you wouldn't be taking too many day trips from there. But yeah, other things to do there. I guess part of it's also going to depend on what time of year you're going, because if you're going in the summer, then Dubai is going to be hot as anything, and so you may not want to be outside all that much. But if you're going during winter time, then like trips out into the desert to do some kind of activities there might be a little bit more enjoyable.
And so let me add one little thing to what Stephen said before about if the hotels are cheap. He said if you have Hyatt Globalist status, you could apply a suite upgrade. The other thing you could do with Hyatt is use points to upgrade a cash stay. And
that's true, yeah.
That can be a great deal, because some of those places in Dubai have like unbelievable suites that you'd be able to then confirm in advance with what would be a reasonable number of points in most cases. So I think it's 6,000 points a night to upgrade to a standard suite and 9,000 a night to upgrade to a premium suite, which in some cases, if you look for my post on extreme luxury with Hyatt, there are some premium suites that are just out of this world. And
yes.
So you might be able to get like just an incredible stay for a very, reasonable cash price and reasonable number of points.
Yeah, because places like the Hyatt Park Hyatt Dubai and stuff like that, some of their premium suites there look absolutely incredible. And then when I was looking, there were 2 Hyatt Regencies there. They were both, I think, under like $75 a night for just a standard king room and things like that. So if you can get some kind of upgrade, like the upgraded suites, far more expensive cash wise, and so that can be a fantastic use of your points and suite upgrades. So yeah, you should hopefully be able to put together a decent trip there if you do have. I guess we're assuming that he has globalist status, because he mentions having titanium status with Marriott. So whether or not, I'm not too sure. I feel like there were some good options with Marriott as well. But with those, I guess Hyatt's the creme de la creme when it comes to that kind of thing, especially because you can then guarantee your suites, whereas with Marriott, then you would just be relying on suite upgrades, room upgrades for 5 nights before your stay or something like that, provided they even come through in the first place. So.
Right. Although I would guess that in a place that's heavy with like these luxury suites, you might have a better chance than most places. So that could be a great way to take advantage of your titanium status, is to apply your suite upgrades, that suite night awards there. All right. Bob says, if I book all-inclusive resorts like Hyatt in South America with ultimate rewards, can I add my spouse/children to the guest list and have them enjoy the all-inclusive perks without buying multiple rooms?
I guess it depends. I feel like with all-inclusive places, they price out based on however many guests that you actually have in the room, and so I'm assuming that would be done automatically without buying multiple rooms, unless the room types mean that you can only have 2 people per room or something like that. I don't think we've never actually booked an all-inclusive with Hyatt, so I don't know exactly how those ones work.
So yeah, I'm a little confused by the question because it says booking with Ultimate Rewards, which would say to me they're booking through the Chase portal rather than transferring to Hyatt, but I don't know if that's what they really meant.
Yeah.
But I know that booking with Hyatt, or I think I remember, I haven't booked one of these, but the Hyatt Zilara, Ziva and Zilara, whatever, they're all inclusive brands. If you have more than 2 people in the room, then they charge more points for the room. And in some cases, it actually makes sense. If I remember right, like if you're adding 2 people, so if you're gonna have a total of 4 people in the room, I think it's often the same price to get 2 rooms with 2 people each instead of 1 room with 4 people. So I would definitely look at that before you book it. This is booking with Hyatt points, not booking with Ultimate Rewards points. But yeah, other than that, I would sure make sure that however you're booking it, they know how many people are there. You're not going to be able to sneak. I wouldn't trust sneaking in people into the room and just paying for just yourself. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, because a lot of all-inclusive places, they'll give you some kind of bracelet or something like that.
That's what I would expect.
And so if you sneak them in, then they're not going to have a bracelet to be able to take advantage of the buffet or anything like that in the first place. So just make sure that you're adding them correctly.
I'm picturing like Bob has his like children hiding in his room while he's bringing food back from the buffet and feeding them like they're inmates. These poor kids. Okay. Mike says, what is the maximum age when renting a car in Europe? The max age, and specifically Spain. I am 78. I have no idea. Is there a maximum?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a maximum age. I've know that there's kind of like the minimum ages that they have, but I've never heard of any kind of maximum age. And when filling out the information when you're renting a car, I don't think that it has because I know normally it'll have like 25 plus or something like that. I don't remember ever seeing say like 25 to 75 or anything like that would suggest that there would be any issues with a 78-year-old renting a car. But I guess in that kind of instance, I'd once you know kind of who you'd want to book with, maybe give them a call just to find out if you would have any issues booking with them. But I wouldn't have thought so. Provided you've got a like valid driver's license and things, then it should be fine.
That's what I would think, but who knows? Maybe there's something in Europe or in certain countries in Europe where they have that maximum age. I don't know. Why don't you read the next question, Stephen?
Okay, so Greg, why do you use Delta SkyMiles at all? This is from Drew, by the way. Why do you use SkyMiles at all? I've looked into the program and the return and cents per point is so low, it just seems like a huge opportunity cost to not use another program. Am I wrong?
Drew is not wrong, although a few things. One is so what Drew is saying is right with respect to if you're talking about booking like business class international travel, you're going to get poor value compared to what is possible to get with many other programs. Domestically, I've done a number of analyses and I found that for domestic economy, Delta is on par or better than like American or United for booking domestic economy awards on average. And that's compared to Delta's prices, not compared to like the best possible price you could get, but still. So I guess backing up to the question of like, why do I bother with Delta miles specifically? And there's two answers. One is like, let me talk about my son. He has signed up for a number of Delta cards. And the reason we bother with him doing that is because it's so easy. They keep having these, outrageously high sign up bonuses. And it's through Amex, who's really easy with approvals. And often it's with their business cards. So that doesn't add to my son's 524 account. So it's really just easy picking. So why not? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Now for me, I bother with Delta because I am a hub captive. So out of Detroit is where I fly, and it's Delta's hub. And if I'm when I'm flying places, Delta is usually the best choice for me. I also happen to like Delta. I think they do a good job, much better than American or United for serving their passengers on average. And because of all that, I fly Delta a lot, and I love having Delta Elite status. And Delta Elite status over time, especially top tier Elite status, has gotten better and better. And to where now they have like those global upgrade certificates, and even their regional upgrade certificates have gotten better because now you can apply them both to award tickets, where it used to be that had to be only cash tickets. So there's a lot of little things about the program that are great, never mind the SkyMiles themselves. And so I really like Delta's Elite program, even if I don't love their awards using their SkyMiles. Those are sort of two different things. And
yeah.
So hopefully that answers that question.
And like you said, domestically as well, they can be super good value, because I was looking at booking flights from Denver to San Francisco back for my wife this summer, and Delta was actually coming out better than United and Southwest and American. So I was finding flights from as low as 6,000 miles one way. And fair enough, that's in basic economy, but if you're just traveling with carry-on, then that's no issue. So like getting somewhere like that on a, like not necessarily a premium route, but a popular route for 6,000 miles is fantastic value if you have some SkyMiles just sitting around. So it's certainly worth having some on hand, unless you have membership rewards and then you can transfer them over. But yeah, it's nice just to have some SkyMiles for that kind of thing.
Right. All right. I think that was the last question. Yeah, so thanks for joining us today, Stephen. It was good having you.
Thank you for having me
on the show. Nick will be back next time, I believe. And I think, well, I don't know if they'll line up. I was going to say that next time I'll be on vacation, but now that, no, I don't think that's true. I think the next one's going to be in between my two vacations that are coming up. So anyway, it was good seeing everybody, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.